Good evening and welcome to Albuquerque Museum. I'm the museum's Associate Curator of Education, Jessica Coyle, and welcome to another one of our live Third Thursday music performances. We're so lucky this evening to have three bands from Chapter House Records, which is Albuquerque's own indigenous record label. All right, before we hand it over to them, I just have a couple of quick announcements. As usual, I'd like to thank our sponsors for the evening, the City of Albuquerque, the Albuquerque Museum Foundation, and the Urban Enhancement Trust Fund. It's thanks to them that we're still able to offer these awesome concerts for everyone at home. Also, don't forget to join us next month in February, on February 18th. We're going to have a performance from Opera Southwest. They're going to do a little highlight from the Frida opera in conjunction with the exhibition Frida Kahlo, Diego Rivera, and Mexican Modernism. And we're also going to have a live performance of Mexican harp and guitar. So don't forget to join us for that on February 18th. Also, in addition to the bands this evening, we were lucky to have three different local activists from Albuquerque who are going to, between each of the bands, tell us a little bit about the work that they're doing in our community to help support Indigenous activism. All right, thank you so much for joining us. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Sing Down the Moon. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good evening. We're excited to be here. Our first song is called The Country Song, and this is dedicated to everybody who has lost somebody during COVID, and this is for my mom and Benji. Thank you. And this next song is about burnout. yeah, if you're feeling burnout, make sure you take it slow. I Thank you. This next song is kind of like about anxiety and like feeling like when you kind of gaslight yourself and you know something's wrong, but you keep going. Anyways, yeah, this is for folks who are dealing with that, especially during COVID time. Thank you. This is going to be our last song. It's called Jesus Song, because I don't have another title for it. But it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like when I was little, I was forced to like go to church, baptized against my will, because I was a baby. But also, just the way that religion is heavy, especially I feel like here in New Mexico too, and with my family, Jesus was a socialist and Jesus was not white. So I feel like, if my family knew that, or it would just be different. Instead, we're following the Bible, and, it's really prevalent in U.S. history and imperialism, and it goes hand in hand. So yeah, just don't drink the water. Weigh me down, hold me down tonight. Thank you. Thank you for having us. Albuquerque Museum, AMP concerts. We're Sing Down the Moon. Ahia hat.
Well, it started around the time of the Gold King mine spill, when the Gold King mine spilled tons of toxic waste into the Animas Valley River, and it was just so disheartening to see because the river ran a disgusting, toxic yellow, and it was just breaking all of our hearts to just look and to see this. And then the Dene people, we a lot of their income around the Shiprock area comes from crops, and so for all of these long run family farms, they had to sit back and watch their crops die for that season and just take the hit of the financial hit instead of poison their farm for a very long time. And it impacted a lot of our lifestyle, because a lot of our traditional prayer medicine comes from corn, comes from the corn pollen. And for that to not be readily available for everyone was just, it was so kind of weird to see. But I kind of rallied up a lot of the community here in Albuquerque, and we managed to send 2 U-Haul worths of water to the Shiprock area. Maybe it wouldn't be for farming or horses, but I mean, at least that the elders would have something to drink while their groundwater was just being polluted. And then it just kind of snowballed on from there. My uncle, he was a board member of the Albuquerque Indian Center, which helps a lot of indigenous people in this area to sometimes they come here and they don't understand how hard it is being away from their people and off the reservation, and they need help getting on their feet, or some of them they have a lot of problems with substance abuse. So I would do a lot of collection drives with them and for them, and then just Standing Rock happened, and it kind of took off from there. I went to Standing Rock about 9 times from August 2016 to the last day in February 2017. And I lived there during the month of December, but I mean, a lot of my stays were probably from 2 days to about a week. I mean, for one, just being Indigenous and seeing how the federal government treats a lot of our land here in this area, it was just so infuriating to see it happen again. And when the owner of the Sacred Stone Camp, Donna Allard, when she put out the call to ask for help to occupy the land, it wasn't just me, it was a lot of Indigenous people throughout the world just came to support and help, because as a united front, I think we realized that as a united front we could probably make a difference. Well, I mean, I guess it's just all around Indigenous identity. Resiliency is just in our blood, and from that, resiliency can mean so many different things. It means standing up to the Dakota Access Pipeline. It means standing up to the United States government, for your land rights. But then Liz Howdy, it also translates to the resiliency in overcoming a lot of life's traumas that I've seen and experienced in order to just become a better and whole person.
Yad ish Elizabeth McKenzie Unisha or Liz Howdy shit to clash tunisha Nakaidina Bashichin bit ani dashiche kinflichini dashinale. Hey everyone, I'm Liz Howdy. I'm here at the Albuquerque Museum via AMP concerts to bring you guys a little bit of music. So I hope you enjoy.
Okay, I have some fun ones. If you're home, you can use your space to do some round dancing. Hey, hey, ya, ya, hey, ya, ya, hey, ya, yo, hey, 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 ya, ya, hi, yo, hey, 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 ya, ya, hi, yo, hey, hey, ya, ya, hi, yo, hey, ya, hey, ya, hey, hey, ya, ya, hi, yo, hey, hey, ya, ya, hey, ya, ya, hey, hey, ya, ya, hey, ya, yo, hey, hey, ya, ya, hi, yo, hey, hey, ya, ya, hi, yo, hey, ya, hi, yo, hey, ya, hey, ya, hey, ya, ya, hi, yo, hey, ya, ya, ya. When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss the way I sing now. Losing everything, yeah, yeah. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Yeah, 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 I away. Hey, hey, yeah, 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 I away. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, away. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah, hi, away. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah, hi, away. Hey, yeah, yeah, I away. Yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah, I away. Yeah, 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 yeah. When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss the ways I care now. Who's gonna braid your hair? Yeah, yeah. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah, I away. Hey, yeah, 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 I away. Hey, yeah, yeah, hey, I away. Hey, yeah, yeah, hi away. Hey, yeah, yeah, hi away. Yeah, yeah, I away. Yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah, I away. Yeah, 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 yeah. A lot of people who are close to me know how I feel about ancestry and DNA tests kind of done for the sake of finding an ethnicity to claim. That doesn't make you a person of color just because you have 6% of whichever ethnicity. And this goes to people who wear headdresses to festivals, and people who, have dream catcher tattoos. It checks all the boxes. It's I can't stand the way you look at me. I'm your conquered glory, manifest destiny, story always. You are my prayers and my sacred journey. So and so, where's this to? Can't you see I honor you? Oh, yeah, 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 I hate your 23 and me. You want some ethnicity. You won't find it in me. You won't find it in me. 'Cause my blood is ancient. Oh, my blood is ancient. My blood is ancient. Oh, 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 my beneath your feet, on the ground beneath your feet, on the ground beneath your feet, on the ground beneath your feet. My blood is on the ground beneath your feet. This one is a cover. My favorite person in the whole wide world, Tom Petty. I dreamed you, I saw your face, across an ocean, I saw your name, yeah, I saw an angel, I saw your face, I can only thank God it was not too late, over mountains I faded away, across an ocean, I saw your name, yeah, I saw an angel, I saw my fate, I can only thank God it was not too late. Sing a little song of loneliness, sing one to make me smile, another round for everyone, I'm here for a little while. Now I'm walking the streets on my own, but she's with me everywhere I go. Yeah, I saw an angel, I saw my fate, I can only thank God it was not too It's my last song. This one goes out to all the Sunny boys.
I think there's a way that I look at it in terms of there's folks that are on the front lines, right? And those are the folks that really put their bodies on the lines. So there's a lot of things that need direct action. That's that immediate action. Those are the ones that are out there, you know, when we need to take care of our communities. I mean, you can think of some of the water protests and things that have been going on over the last several years. I would like to say that there is like a secondary or a tertiary, if you will, type of activism that I engage in, is because we also need media activism. We need we need supportive educational activism that goes with it. So I would say that my role and my work in trying to correct, reinterpret, publish anything that helps to change the misperceptions, the misrepresentations, the erasures of Indigenous identity through pop culture has really been my work. I consider myself an indigenerd, and I think that we underestimate really the impact of popular culture. And so there is an activism, there's an intellectual activism, there's an educational activism that also needs to take place simultaneously to the frontline work. And I am forever indebted to the folks that are doing that. They're the ones putting their bodies on the line, but I think there is a synthesis and an interconnection to all of us that are working to change the realities for Native and Indigenous peoples. I started my shop because, and all of the other things that I've done in terms of publishing, because I noticed there was very much a need for the young people that I was working with to have something that was representational of them. And in this day and age, representation, it does matter. It is incredibly important because it opens the imagination. I started all of this, as we said, it's to unleash the Indigenous imagination. It's this idea that if I can see it, if I can see something out there, then I can strive towards that. And then I can see what's next. I can decide to continue to be better. I can try to continue to aim toward the stars, if you will. And that's the part. Once you're able to open that up for an individual, for a group, for a community, for a population, that's how you begin to make that change. The minute you see that representation, the minute I can see a Native superhero in comic books standing right next to, in my shop, right next to Iron Man, it means that my community, my people from Laguna Pueblo, are no longer secondary or tertiary or even worse than that. They're right up there. They're the same kinds of people. They are the same kinds of superheroes. And that's what I wanted to see across the board. Anywhere that I can put that message into the world, it allows a lot of that to cultivate for my community, my people, the kids I used to teach, and the Indigenous people throughout the space. If you can see that, you can imagine it, and you can change the world. I wanted to start Native Realities, I think partly because I wanted something to be on my own terms, within my own frame. I wanted to be able to have control over what we were publishing. I've been within writing in the publishing industry for 20-some years now at this point. I started out when I was a kid working with my dad and the nonprofit he would run. And I've seen how a lot of that ends up being either essentialized, the work by Native people gets essentialized, or it doesn't get the representation. In bookstores, there's a section that's the Native section. And even if it's an amazing work, it goes over to the Native section, right? And then the privileged few get to be up in the main, they get to be up in the main fiction section. And I think that is by design. We don't want a full section of Native folks. So when in working backwards and starting the bookstore, it was to say that the whole bookstore is a Native section. So you know what you're getting the minute you come in. As a publisher, I don't necessarily trust that the industry, Western industry, has my interests at heart. I have had too many stories of Native writers and people that I know directly that have been told by editors in publishing houses to, can you make it a little more Native? Can you add a little bit more, like nativeness to it, as if it's this sort of mythical thing, whereas writers write from their own experience. We write about ourselves. We write about who we are. We write about our family. We write from this space. So in terms of publishing and creating a publishing company, it was to be able to help create something that would be not only authentic, but dynamic. I didn't want things that would rely upon these old tropes and stereotypes of Native existence and identity that has been defined by, as we can put it, the white men, right? Like as it's been defined through history for 400 years, I could say that it needs to be defined by us, my community, my people, Native women, Native men, etc. And so that's why I wanted to start publishing. Indigenous Comic-Con was founded in 2016. We had a banner year in 2019, as many of us did. We were able to expand north to Denver, internationally to Melbourne, Australia, and we were so close to being able to start to launch our fourth year in 2020. In 2020, March of 2020, and about 2 weeks before we were about to go up, all of the stuff that happened with the pandemic locked down the state. We were unable to continue to do that. So we scrambled around, put something together digitally that brought in a lot of some new recordings, people doing some Zoom recordings, some old stuff, and we put together what I thought was really fun. It was like 2 days, 16 hours. We had like 8 hours of programming a day for folks just to tune in. That was 2020. So here we are, 2021. This year we have more digital. We're planning on talking really about a concept called Indigenous dreaming, which is a term that we have, we'll say borrowed, for lack of a better term, from our Indigenous brothers and sisters in Australia, in so-called Australia. And we have brought that as this concept of exploring the what can be in all of its imaginings, both past, present, and future. That's how they consider the dreaming. So the dreaming is a way that we can think through all of the potentialities, all of the things that we can imagine past, present, and future in terms of the way that we want to see our, imagine what we're going to be doing coming out of the pandemic. As I say, it's kind of emerging from the cave. We've been in this slumber. And while we've been there, we've been dreaming. And we're dreaming of this new world, this new concept of indigeneity. We're seeing a lot of these things, that are shaping over this last year, shaping how we're going to move forward. And so how do we do that in a way that is positive? How do we do that in a way that sparks the imagination and the heart and the soul? So we have that coming up in March. It's a digital event. It will be Indigenous Dreaming, sponsored by, Indigipop X, IPX presents Indigenous Dreaming. And then hopefully we're gonna be able to do something in the fall. We're really looking to go back to our roots, our November dates, to run something again in the fall, and hopefully we'll have the opportunity to do that. I think when we talk about activism and Indigenous activism, I think it's very important for us to recognize that, as Vine Deloria said, indigeneity is an evolution. It is an evolutionary process. It's flexible, it's malleable, and so activism comes in many forms. It can come from young people getting up to recite a poem. It can come from a whole bunch of Indigenous folks that are running for their community. It can be, silent, reflections around missing, murdered Indigenous women. It can be producing comic books. It can be frontline water protecting activism work where you're staring down water cannons. And it can be our grandmas that continue to hold our traditions. Activism comes in these many forms, and as we continue to think about them, and as we continue to explore these concepts, it is important to remember that they adapt, they change, as do Indigenous peoples. We adapt, we survive, we thrive, and we continue to move forward to a really bright and beautiful future.
Hello everybody, we're Midnight Stew, and you know what they say. They say you can't teach a dying dog new tricks. Well, I've been trying for so long, it's making me sick. These lungs, this heart, my will is giving out. Every time I try, it never works out. I've been knocked down, beat, and dragged on the floor. And tonight is the night I'm begging for more. Just look me in the eyes and swing away. When I get up, you better pray. I walk this road in the dark I'm all alone in a home that I built to call my own. Can use your fucking words or your fists. It doesn't matter, 'cause I'll resist. Just light that fucker up and take your head. 'Cause tonight, well, I'm so sick of your shit. I walk this road in the dark with the moon and whistle at night. I'm all alone in a home that I built to call my own. So you can't teach a dying dog new tricks. I've been trying for so long, it's making me sick. These lungs, it's hard, my will is giving out. And every time I try, it never works out. I walk this road in the dark with the moon and whistle at night. I'm all alone in a home that I built to call my own. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. The song's called Border Town. It's about living in a border town. Oh, this border town, it never gets old. With its racism, keeping on your toes. As soon as you step out of line, it's called the cops, then jail time, because being something other than white is oh, this border town, it likes to live a lie. It doesn't matter if you're wrong or right, 'cause when you're in border town, they really will bring you down, then kick you when you're on the ground. Oh, in border town, they call you names, and I cry, and I cry. Oh, in border smile, a handshake in denial. They'll take your money, then take your style. Oh, in border town, they call you names, and I cry, and I cry. Oh, in border town, they live a lie, but I try, and I try. Oh, in border town, it never gets old. With its racism, keeping on your toes. As soon as you step out of line, it's called the cops, then jail time, because being something other than white is a crime. Oh, in border town, they live a great big lie. They've been doing it for so long, they think it's right. The originals, they all know that everything is just for show. 'Cause when you're in border town, you just don't know. Wake me up when the sun fades. I don't wanna see the light of day. I wanna believe there are better days, even when I don't feel the same. Just wake me when the sun fades away. Well, I don't know what I've become. I wanna feel free in the shade of night. I wanna believe there are better days, even when I don't feel the same. Just wake me when the sun fades away. We'll close the door, shut off the light. I wanna be alone with my thoughts. I'm trying to believe there are better days, even when I don't feel the same. Well, I'm trying to get up and leave this place. So wake me up when the storm has passed. I'm sick and tired of wasting gas, trying to push on through a new beyond to a whole land of the unknown, where the sun shines on me, where the sun shines on me. Oh, how the time begins to fade when you're away in your grave. Is there a reason for all of this? Why things are why it is? We keep looking for something more, looking for clues in unlocked doors. there a reason for all of this? Why things are why it is? But we keep looking for something more, looking for clues in unlocked doors. Oh, how the time it slips away. You're not here when you fade. Oh, how the time always fades. You're not here and I'm away. Well, I'm not worried 'cause life is short. See you in a while. See you on the other side with a smile. See you on the other side with a smile. Oh, how the time it slips away. When you're not here, there's no fear. Is there a reason for all of this? Why things are why it is? We keep looking for something more, looking for clues in unlocked doors. Thank you, everybody. We're Midnight Stew, and we have one more song. I'd just like to thank Albuquerque Museum, Sing Down the Moon, and Liz Howdy. This was a real pleasure. Thank you. When the night has come, where do our souls run? time has come, do we know? When we're on the road to take us home, up or down, no one ever knows which way our souls will choose to roam. I was searching for a place that I could finally call my home. And in the dark I looked so far away. And in the dark I found my very own into the unknown. Thank you. That concludes the evening. Thank you for watching.
Hi, my name is Dylan McLaughlin. I am originally grew up from the Navajo Nation. I'm a grad student currently finishing the Art and Ecology MFA program at the University of New Mexico. Let's see, I work as an artist with a background pretty heavily in video art and filmmaking, lots of work with museums and short storytelling, that sort of thing. And it's my work has sort of evolved from that over the last maybe 10 or so years, exploring sort of other artists' creative process and practices and creative spaces, learning about sort of relationships with meeting people in their own creative spaces. A lot of that has informed the sort of like overlaps of collaboration and improvisation in the work that I now do as an artist. A lot of it is formed from kind of a firm sort of gaze into, or I should say a deep gaze of uncovering complex histories of relationships to extractive industries on Indigenous lands and territories. There's a lot of that everywhere across the nation. My work has, over the last years, been kind of has revealed itself to be very intersectional in that, I'm working with different artists in different communities telling different very personal stories that tend to kind of also sort of blossom into these complex stories of relationships to land. And again, when you're talking Indigenous territories, you're usually surrounded by heavy conversations of land exploitation and sort of the imposition of different layers of colonialism, including the extractive industries. And so that's where my work has really kind of again become this sort of intersectional space of looking at land policy, land use, legacies of historical colonial violence, including ongoing extractive industry cycles. All of that kind of synthesizes in my own creative practice into different forms of sometimes creative music, creative movement pieces, including dance. Improvisation is very kind of central to my creative practice for a lot of reasons. I would say maybe the most honest core reason is the honesty that is able to really be provided and generated in intuitive moving, in intuitively making decisions around, how people work together. And I like that because it's not rigid. And that's, one of my key collaborators over the last decade or so has been Chinupa Hanska-Luger. And that's one of the things that I feel like I hear Chinupa say often, is talking about sort of the rigidity of, quote unquote, truth, and how that rigidity makes truth in itself kind of fragile, breakable. You can break the things that are very firmly rigid. But when you're talking honesty, that's something that's fluid, and things that are fluid are not so easily broken. And yet they have to, things that are fluid have to continually be cared for and stewarded. And so a lot of these sort of like creative, protocols in a sense, have sort of been birthed over the last, 10 years or so, between myself and collaborators like Chinupa and many others, in regards to building kind of this idea of, creative protocols. How do we carry ourselves in relationship and dialogue to land and place as makers? And so that's where a lot of my work has, intersected in looking at, USGS land survey working very heavily in aerial photography and aerial videography, using drones and, sort of the lineage of essentially surveillance technology. And so every corner we look, there's a layer of complexity. You can't just get away with anything without participating in some sort of lineage and legacy of either directly coming from violence of colonialism or extractivism, then maybe paralleling it, or having been burdened by it, or having been stripped away by it. So it's kind of always a conversation about the complexity around the violence in land, embedded in land, projected onto land, imagined onto land. That's where a lot of my work resides.
So what made you interested in telling these stories about use and misuse of indigenous lands?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grew up on the Navajo Nation. I grew up just at the basin of Black Mesa, this large coal mine project. That area is kind of nestled within a few hundred miles between historically some very notorious power plants, very heavy polluters, and that that's a place that I come from, and it's a sacred place, like every other place. And it's as I kind of set in motion a lot of my sort of as I activated myself more as a maker, an artist, which really came a little bit later in my life. I think it took me a long time to see myself as someone who was making things, as opposed to just simply kind of witnessing things. As I mentioned, I started working primarily as a filmmaker, and I saw that mostly as a space of observation and witness. And then I realized that a lot of making comes out of that witness. It's kind of part of the cycle. So that's very much where I am now. But kind of that whole background in growing up in a place like that, meeting other people who grew up, in places that are also constantly under threat in present day and historically from extractive industries, they are conversations that I feel like we can't help but have. They're so pertinent to the way that we are currently living, or kind of maybe sometimes having to live for survival reasons in different places. And there are some key stories along the way that moments that I experienced that really were quite profound for me in really affirming why I wanted to focus on, land rights issues, water issues, climate justice, environmental justice, multi-species justice work. One of them, I'll try to tell you the short version. One of them is, I was working on a piece with this art collective Winter Count, which Chinupa Hanska and his partner Ginger are a part of a few years ago. And I had two people come up to me while doing this sort of interactive video sound installation. The details of I won't go into because I could talk about it for forever. But I had one person come up to me and say, with their family, and they come up and they say, "Thank you so much for your work. Focusing on this issue is very important for us here in this community." This is this person telling me, because of the health effects that we've seen from this environmental project. This is an artwork that's in conversation with a kind of a local big kind of extractive project in the area. And so this woman says, "Thank you for your work and giving visibility to this issue. Our family has suffered very greatly from this, and we're happy to have seen this mine close." And so I was like, "Well, thank you for sharing that." And then I swear 10, 15 minutes later, another family walks up to me, and it's almost the same conversation. They come up to me and they say, "Thank you so much for your work and for giving visibility to this issue. My family has suffered greatly from the closing of this mine economically because it was our real kind of economic backbone. So we're kind of devastated and struggling right now trying to find new work. So, thank you for this, for focusing on the closure of this mine." And I'm like, wow, here I am, like making this art project, kind of a statement on, not quite a statement, but just kind of a portrayal of the complexity of, in this case, this mine. And I get two families from almost like opposite sides of the spectrum. One of them saying, "We're happy it shut down," and the other one saying, "We're devastated it shut down." But both of them saying, "Thanks to you as an artist for telling these important stories of our community." It blew my mind, and it made me realize that there's a lot of storytelling and healing. I don't know about healing. I can't say my work heals, but I can say that my work sort of circulates these conversations, and it promotes space for people to really meditate on how complex these issues are and how deep they run.
What is your goal when making your? What do you want the viewer to get from it?
Yeah, that's a good question. What do I want the viewers of my work to get out of? I think it's an important space that I've been defining the entire time I've been a maker of things. And I think the truth is that I really like to provide this space of, grappling with these conversations of, colonial settler violence around extractive industries, current and sort of like current projects and the legacies of projects that have impacted Indigenous communities. I think it's maybe easy to position yourself thinking like, I'm going to sort of rally around a conversation around an issue, and I'm going to, promote justice around this issue. And I see a lot of wonderful, radical, generous artists, makers, thinkers, scholars working in that regard. And I think we need that absolutely. But I feel like my work moves a little bit away from that and steps into this space of, I don't really want to be the one to tell you what's right or wrong or how to feel about a certain thing or issue or place. What I like to do is kind of just provide the story. Here's the complexity of what has happened in a place. And you look at it and you'll see the the violence, you'll see the beauty, you'll see the balance, you'll see the disharmony. You kind of see all of it at once. And I like to think that my work just sort of shows that holistic view, which includes, you know, a lot of violence and a lot of beauty, in order to let the audience kind of maybe make their own decisions about how they feel about certain things. And I don't mean that my work is passive. I don't mean that I'm like, I'll give fuel to any belief or any view or any gaze. That's not my interest as a maker. I'm not trying to promote ever any sort of forms of extraction. I'm simply trying to call out some of the irony in these stories. And maybe this word complexity is a little bit of a cop out, but it just kind of, it's constantly there. And I'm constantly feeling like these issues are so huge and so heavy. And the more time we can spend just kind of holding them in a safe container of an experience, like an art piece, the more we can process how we relate to those issues and these lineages of violence. And therefore, maybe moving forward, we can be informed by that and engage with, you know, present and future protocols around how we relate to land, maybe in a more, I don't know, sensitive, harmonious, generative manner.